If you're thinking of moving to or buying a home in Lutz, Florida, just north of Tampa, then you are going to want to watch this video. Because what I'm going to do is I'm going to break down the pros and cons of what it's like to live in Lutz and give you a bunch of information, including the stuff some other people might not tell you. So be sure to grab your pen, grab your notebook, because this is going to be a comprehensive overview. Let's dive into the video. Okay guys, now as you may know, I've been selling homes in the Tampa Bay area, including Lutz. Yep, that's right, it's Lutz, not Lutz, Florida, for the last 20 years, helping hundreds of families every single year. And the benefit of that is that as we move people in or move people out of the area, they tell us more and more things about what they love or what they don't like. So I've got a pretty comprehensive list from other people's experiences, plus what I know about the area, and I'm going to break it all down in this little video and put it in a neat little package with a bow on it for you guys. And while most people love it, nowhere's perfect. It's not all rainbows and unicorns. So I think it's important to tell you guys the cons as well as the pros so you can make a balanced and informed decision for yourselves. So with no further ado, let's get right into the pros. Now, pro number one when talking about living in Lutz is going to be the schools. They are really truly some of the best schools in all of the Tampa Bay area. And it's a huge reason why people move there. Now, the most popular one that people know about is Steinbrenner High. We get a ton of people call us and say, I want to be in that school district specifically, but there are also some other great options as well. I'm thinking of like Lutz Prep and Schwarzkopf Elementary, awesome schools. Now, as I always tell people, do your research online. You can go on to Niche, you can go on to great schools, and they'll give you all the information you need. But suffice to say, if schools are a concern to you, then Lutz is likely to check off a lot of the boxes that you're requiring. Now, pro number two of living in Lutz is that you're likely to find more options with a little bit more land. So when you go to these new suburbs with new neighborhoods, the lot lines are pretty tight and pretty small. So they can be down at like 0.11, 0.12 of an acre. Lutz has a lot more options with even half acre or above home sites. So if you want to feel a little bit more spread out, if you don't want to reach out the side of your house and touch hands with your neighbor on the other side, definitely consider Lutz, because not only does your money go a little bit further there, but you also get a little bit more land. And on top of that, there are some great non-HOA options. So again, just about everywhere that's being built in, say, Wesley Chapel at the moment comes with not only a homeowners association fee, but also a CDD fee. Lutz has tons of options that has not only no HOA, but no CDD as well. So you can save on those monthly fees and not have to have those restrictions. Now, pro number three is, despite those options, it also has a great choice for new communities as well, where you can take advantage of the great incentives that builders are offering at the moment. So particularly towards the north end of Lutz, I'm thinking of like Persimmon Park as you get into the Wesley Chapel area, or K-Bar out towards the east side of Lutz a little bit. Those are some awesome brand new communities with some nice features that give you great incentives. So I've seen builders buying down the interest rate below 5%. I've seen them offering $25,000, $35,000 in closing costs. And what that does is, at a time where affordability is a little pressed, is it allows you a little bit more stretch in your dollar when you're buying a place. It gives you bigger buying power. So we're seeing more and more people take advantage of that new construction incentive. And like I said, Lutz has plenty of choices for those. If you want to learn about our favorite new communities in Lutz, be sure to reach out to us. We're happy to send you the information. Now, the next pro is going to be for Lutz that the home prices there are more affordable than some of the other suburbs. So at about $480,000 for an average price point, it's going to be less expensive than Odessa or Trinity, which are very geographically similar. So again, if you're looking for slightly less expensive options, and if you want to make your dollar stretch a little bit further, you might want to consider Lutz over Trinity or Odessa. Now, pro number five is going to be Cheval. And I don't really need to say much more than that. Cheval is one of the premier communities in all of the Tampa Bay area. Now, there are two sections to Cheval, but it hosts a fantastic golf course, the TPC, and a ton of other amenities. There's a bunch of tennis courts and other wonderful community amenities in there, which are sure to satisfy just about everybody. That's also in a fantastic school zone as well. So if you're looking for the best schools, Cheval should be on your list. And then finally, the location is just about unbeatable. When you're talking about communities in Lutz, it's pretty much the most accessible. It's real close to the 589 toll road, it's real close to Dale Mabry, and it's just really accessible from a whole bunch of different angles, and it makes commuting down to Tampa an absolute breeze. The only potential negative is that there can be a little bit of traffic right around there at certain times. So if location and convenience is high on your list and you want the best of the best, definitely check out Cheval. And then the next pro that I kind of alluded to with Cheval, and it kind of goes more in general for the whole of Lutz, is the general accessibility. So you can get to Tampa either down US 41, you can get to it via Dale Mabry, you can get to it via the 589 Suncoast Toll Road. There's a number of different ways, and like I said, it makes Tampa very, very accessible in general. And if it's I-75 that you want to get to, you can just simply scoot across State Road 52 to the east and hop on I-75. So really, really accessible suburb, really, really great options for how to get down to Tampa or to get further north. It really is one of the pros of being there. And then final pro I'm going to mention are kind of like the parks and the nature amenities around there. So there's a ton of options in Lutz. Now, probably the best is Lake Park, which is absolutely gorgeous. It's kind of built around 5 lakes, and there's a ton of stuff to do there. It can really make you feel at one with nature. And then there's also Lutz Nature Park and Playground. So there's a number of solid options. You can check them out online, but certainly Lutz has more of them than quite a few of the other suburbs around. Hey guys, Ross Hardy from the Hardy team at Remax and the Living in Spring Hill, Florida channel, where we break down the pros and cons and cost of living of all of the best suburbs north of Tampa, Florida. Now, if you have any questions or you're thinking about making the move, you can reach out to us at the contact information below. Call us, text us, email us, or set up a Zoom in the link. We just want to hear from you if you have any questions that we can possibly be of assistance to answer. Whether you're 9 days or 99 days away, there's never a time that's too early to do your research. And despite what people might think, there's no such thing as a stupid question. We've been doing it for 20 years here. We're experts. We probably have a very easy answer for you. Or you can simply reach out to us in the comments down below, via phone, via email, to snag a free list of properties in the area and price points you're interested in. Anyway, let's get back into the rest of the content and give you guys the cons. All right, guys, so con number 1, I already alluded to this earlier, is that the traffic around Lutz Lake Fern Road by Cheval is really, really pretty tragic at certain points of the day. So if you're going during those peak hours where school buses are coming or people are commuting to work, that congestion is pretty real coming out of Cheval. The traffic is going to be pretty bad, comparable to a lot of the worst traffic areas in West Chase or Wesley Chapel. Although, like I said, in general, Lutz is pretty good for traffic. It's really just that one little section. But because Cheval is so popular and so many people want to be there, you are of course going to experience that congestion at those times of day. Now, con number 2 is going to be the kind of lack of restaurants and stores. Certainly when you compare it to some of the other suburbs like Wesley Chapel, West Chase, even Odessa and Trinity, I guess, the number of options are going to be a little bit thinner on the ground in Lutz. Although I want to give a special shout out, like I do in most of my videos, to the Mustard Seed Deli, which is one of my favorite sandwich places in the Tampa Bay area. But in general, you might find yourself traveling elsewhere if you need to scratch that itch for kind of a wide variety of restaurants or stores. Now, con number 3 is that there's going to be a bunch more homes in Lutz that are going to be on septic and on a well, as opposed to being on public water and on sewer. And although this is kind of all about perspective, we do work with a number of people who do love being on a septic. Most people tend to prefer being on the sewer system. So again, it's all a sense of perspective, but be sure to check with us if you're interested in a specific neighborhood or property to see what system it's on. But without a doubt, there are many, many more properties on a septic and well in Lutz compared to a number of the other suburbs. Now, con number 4 is going to be the nature in Lutz. And you might say, well, hold on a second, but let me just elaborate what I mean by that. Now, I'm talking about snakes and alligators. There are certainly many, many more of those in Lutz than there are in the vast majority of the suburbs around. And it's because it kind of maintains a little bit more of that rustic rural nature than somewhere like Wesley Chapel yet again, and because there is a lot more water in Lutz than a lot of those suburbs. But you're definitely going to want to be aware that there is a much greater chance of running into a gator or a snake in Lutz than there would be in, say, West Chase or Wesley Chapel. And for some people, that's going to freak them out. So I have had a couple of customers mention that over the years, so I did want to mention it on here. And another con I want to mention is that the jobs market is not going to be as thriving as some of the other suburbs like Carrollwood or West Chase, and you might find yourself commuting to get to a decent paying job if you're living in Lutz. And that's partly because it's a little bit more rural. It's partly because it's a little bit further north than some of those suburbs. But like I said, access to Tampa is pretty convenient, pretty easy. So if you do have to commute, it might not be a big deal for you. But certainly there are not a huge number of job opportunities within Lutz itself. And then the final con I want to mention, as with a lot of these suburbs, is the susceptibility to flooding, particularly in light of what we saw at the end of 2024. So Lutz does have a kind of a low-ish water table compared to some of the other suburbs around. But on top of that, it has a number of waterfront options as well. There's quite a few lakes there. And so with that, you get a much higher chance of flooding when you have heavy, heavy rain from these hurricanes like Helene and Milton from last year. Now, Now, to that point, just about any suburb in Tampa can flood if a hurricane comes through, but I did want to make you guys aware of that and just put it on your radar. Okay guys, so that's going to do it for the pros and cons of living in Lutz, Florida. I hope you found that useful, so please be sure to like the video, comment down below, and let me know if that puts you off Lutz or if you can handle all of those things and it's still on your radar. Be sure to subscribe and hit the notifications bell. That way, any videos we release about pros and cons, everything you need to know, cost of living, or the new home tours in any of the suburbs north of Tampa, you guys will be the first to know about it. And be sure to watch the other videos we have on the channel. There's a ton of resources on here. Like I said, if you want that free list of homes in areas and price points you're interested in, you can reach out to us via phone or via email at the information below, or leave a comment. I respond to all of those personally. And of course, if you have any questions at all, whether you're 9 days or 99 days away from making a move, be sure to reach out to us. We always love hearing from people like you on the YouTube channel. You're my favorite people to speak with. Until next time, guys, I hope to hear from you so we can show you around town as well. I'm Ross Hardy from the Hardy team. It's time to love where you live.